What is up, y'all? It's your girl, Brand New, and I'm back in the motherfucking building. This time, I'm back, child, to talk about this for surviving RKelly bullshit, honey. I can't even get the fucking words out. Like you, myself, and so many other YouTube content creators, you spent this weekend watching this surviving RKelly. A lot of celebrities have been speaking out on this because they have watched it as well. And there were points of this where I didn't quite know what to think. I have known for years that he has had this history of messing with the teenage girls, but he was never, arrested for this shit. He never served any prison time for this shit. You know? He was never accused of this shit. So, like so many other people, you are a fan of his music. I can't say, he's like, oh my God, my most favorite R&B singer. You know, RKelly has did a lot for the music business. He really has. He's very talented. I give him that. But breaking down all the layers of this surviving RKelly docuseries, it was just fucking crazy. It was just all over the place. I had to keep walking away from it. You know, I had to kind of get a break from it because it was heavy. It was fucking crazy. You know, you got so many victims speaking out about the abuse and how, you know, they lived with him and they had to ask for water and food and ask to go to the bathroom. You got a few of the parents, you know, didn't know that he was capable of this. They knew that he had, some charges against him. You know, he went to trial, but like I said, nothing ever came up on it. You had people like Tom Joyner playing his music for years still, and he had already went to trial, and you had people knowing that this man was scouting girls out at the high schools. You know what I'm saying? At the malls. You know, this shit was just all over the place. But one thing I will say before we get off into everything is RKelly was able to get away with this for so long because he was helped. Okay? And this situation is so much bigger than RKelly, his music career. It's so much bigger than that. It kind of opens up the conversation of how many times have we helped somebody abuse somebody in some kind of way? You know, I just see this shit as being just so much bigger than what it is, you know, but that's what I really walked away from was this man was helped. Along the way, people seen the things he was doing. And they turned a blind eye to it because it wasn't so obvious. You know, we had the situation with Aaliyah, him marrying her and there being a marriage license. But then that blew over. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, well, Aaliyah never really spoke out and said anything bad about him. She never said that, you know, they was together. She's always denied things. Whenever they would do an interview, she would just say, we're really close. We're really friends. And then once she had kind of got married to him, she went her own way and began working with Timbaland and Missy. He then went his own way and became even more successful. So we had our warning. Our biggest warning of all of this shit right there. But since no one spoke out, no one said anything, it was allowed to go on, to go on, to go on. And the bigger reality of the whole thing is this is RKelly's undoing. This is karma. What goes around comes right back on around. This is his undoing right here. He is not supported by any streaming services. I think Spotify, Pandora, Apple, everybody has stopped supporting the streaming of his music on their playlist. Like, they cancel his shows and shit. He done got his ass on here denying that anything had been canceled. And then he had spoke out a couple of times. Well, I don't know why they would cancel my... Bitch, you know why the fuck they did it. Because of you and the fucking problem that you got with fucking with these fucking teenage girls. Oh, just an old nigga sitting up here. Oh, I don't know why they would do that. They ain't do it for no reason, motherfucker. Shit. This shit had me so much in my motherfucking feelings. I put my motherfucking daughter to the side once I saw the last part of this. My daughter is 10 years old. I said, listen, you are not to go with anybody in the music industry. Hell, I may even have to ban some concerts, honey. You are not, like, I had to lay down the fucking law with her. As you get older, there's no talking, even now, no talking to older men, grown men. Like, I wanted no parts of that around my daughter, like, at all. And I'm sure many of you probably put your daughter's, hell, son, shit. Because didn't he take one of the young ladies and made her into, like, this boy? She was so pretty as a girl. Made her cut her hair and played up on her little tomboy image. Craziest shit ever. This shit just makes you fucking crazy. Like, you know, you don't know how to think, you know, but all I do know is, I know, like I said before, this is his undoing, and it is a big sign. It is a big sign that if people keep supporting him, he's just going to continue to destroy young women's lives. And he has been allowed to do that for so long. You got so many people in the music industry that continue to work with him even after, you know, he went to trial. And of course, he was found not guilty. But just because you are found not guilty don't mean you ain't guilty, okay? You know, there's plenty of demons and devils out in the world that do bad shit. They don't go to prison, you know, and RKelly is just one of those beasts, you know, one of those many beasts. I really feel for the victims, all of these young ladies. A lot of people have been coming at them saying, oh, well, you know, they're teenagers. They still know right from wrong. And, you know, they should have known that not to go to his house and, you know, just let him tell them when to go to the bathroom. And they should have never put up with him telling them what to eat, not to eat. Like, you know, they kept trying to seek fame and, you know, and I don't know. I don't really know what to think of the victims, except for the fact that at the end of the day, you all, they are victims. They are victims. And then we had one young lady that was in her 30s or whatever when she met him. And she admitted that she was abused and broken by her ex-husband. So that allowed this predator named RKelly to come in and do his work. You know, a lot of people are abused. They're picked apart. They are destroyed by family, by so-called friends. You know, the self-esteem is low. So it's at an all-time low. Because RKelly was able to get in and say and do what he wanted to do and use fame and fortune, use the music industry. A lot of these girls was aspiring music artists. They wanted to sing and they felt like, oh, if I do what he says, you know, I'm going to be that next big singer. And if I do this and if I do that, I remember when he was working with Aaliyah, except Aaliyah really popped off after she stopped working with him. She was popping when she worked with him, but she really went on to do good for herself. You know what I'm saying? But Aaliyah was like the only one. You had the Sparkle lady, but she wasn't never no star like that. Not that I remember, you know. Aaliyah was the only one that was like a star. Barry Hankerson was her uncle, so she already had a tie to the music industry. But this shit is sad, y'all, so bear with me as we try to get through it. Okay, so first off, we learned that RKelly grew up in the projects. He was a very shy kid. And he ended up admitting in a Tavis Smiley interview that he was molested as a young child for years. So that is how the seed. Remember that I told you all a while ago, what we do to our children, who we have our children around, that shit plants a seed. It could be you as a parent or whoever you have watching your child. That's why it's important to watch people's actions. Watch how they talk to people, how they treat the people. Talk to your children on how they are being treated with the adults that you leave them with. But that's where the seed was planted in his head when he was being molested. I think they had a few psychologists on here, and they was pretty much saying that being that RKelly was abused as a child, he never wanted to feel powerless ever again in life. You know, that really sucks the life out of a child. They feel powerless. They have low self-esteem. They doubt themselves. Whenever you're raped or molested, it does a number on your psyche. So he was fucked up. He didn't have a chance, you know? He maybe could have spoke with somebody and got help or, you know, but it don't help everybody because everybody don't want to talk about sexual abuse, especially not no male black child, you know. I believe one of his brothers admitted that he was molested sexually, and he went to talk to RKelly about it, and RKelly is just like, man, that didn't happen. He was denying shit for him. It was just crazy. So that is how that shit was planted. We also learned that RKelly was in a choir at high school, and even though he was shy at school, he really opened up and really showed his talent through his music, through singing. He got really close to one of his teachers. She was a music teacher, Miss Dr. Lena McLean. She shared with us that RKelly was very aggressive in school and used sexual language in his songs. There's another sign right there. Right there. And throughout this docuseries, that lady spoke on, you know, different things she saw him doing. She kept seeing him hanging out with, this is after he had graduated, she kept seeing him hanging out with the young girls, and she was just like, you need to stay away from those girls. Those girls are too young for you. They are not developed enough for you. They are children. You need to stay away from them. And she really got into his ass about that, and he would never listen. And a lot of this shit, it just makes you think like, damn, if you guys picked up on these signs, why didn't anybody call the police? But you can't just call the police for these things, because then that enters into a line of questioning and you ain't got no real proof. And, you know, it's just, he was allowed on so many, levels to continue his predator-like behavior. There were signs, but it wasn't enough, you know, for people to see what he was capable of. Dr. McLean, Lena McLean, she also let RKelly know that, you know, when you're doing songs, you can't be putting too much of the sexual language in there. You really need to reword. Why is all of this coming out like this? I think she like really questioned that and his behavior. And like I said, she stayed on him about that. But that right there, like I said, that was a sign. And then you had this guy named Craig Williams, who is a music producer. He picked up on the fact that RKelly, like I said, was going to Kenwood High School to hang out. This is even though he wasn't a damn student, but the man picked up on the fact that RKelly enjoyed being around teenagers. Like I stated before, another sign. This shit so far is in his music. He was molested, for years when he was really young until he was middle school, high school. So all of this shit is just connected, you know? You're already seeing the early life of a predator. Next, we get introduced to a young lady named Javante Cunningham. I love her name, so pretty. And her and a young lady named Tia Hawkins. Tia Hawkins is a young lady that she went to school with. I believe Tia had already knew RKelly. Anyways, they both sang background vocals for RKelly for his Born Into the 90s album. I believe that was one of his first albums. I know he did some work with Public Announcement as well. These young ladies, Javante and Tia, they both wanted to be singers and they wanted to be famous. So, shit, it's a no-brainer, you know. They wanted to work with RKelly. They saw he was a star on the rise, you know. This is a man that can sing, that can write, that can produce and arrange vocals. So, hell, you know, why not? Then we had a Sergeant Jacquees Conway. And I'm guessing he's retired now, but I found this to be very suspicious. He said he would see RKelly frequenting Kenwood High School, and I'm just looking like, if you saw him at the fucking high school, why the fuck wouldn't you pull him to the side and talk to him? Like, why are we seeing things and we're not really having a bigger discussion around it? You know, like, I don't understand that. And then you a damn sergeant. Why wouldn't you find it strange for a grown man to be going to a damn high school? You know, that don't make no damn sense to me. So next we got Javante. She pretty much shares that RKelly would tell her to go out and find him some girls. You know, she's not thinking of underage girls. She's thinking about, you know, maybe some older girls that could sing with her and Tia, you know. Javante also shared that when they began doing the Slow Dance remix, which is a song from RKelly from back in the day, she found RKelly with one of her teenage friends bent over in the studio. So, bam, right there. All of these signs and warnings of what this man is capable of doing. And hell, we only in the damn 90s. This shit continues. This is what happens when we don't pay attention to signs and warnings and we don't report on things. So next we have RKelly. He meets Aaliyah. Aaliyah is 12 at the time. 12. Wow, just young. Anyways, they had showed a clip of RKelly and Aaliyah working in the studio. She was going to be RKelly's protege. Y'all know that Aaliyah's uncle was Barry Hankerson. So, you know, he was pretty much, RKelly was appointed to, you know, kind of set up Aaliyah's singing career. Help her with her singing and arranging vocals, you know, producing some of her songs. Javante shared that Aaliyah's image changed while working with her, Tia, and RKelly. Aaliyah began doing the baggy pants and kind of having her belly out, looking older. Age Ain't Nothing But a Number comes out, and I remember being a kid and that song came out. I thought Aaliyah was grown, because I'm kind of looking like, well, shit, age ain't nothing but a number. Throwing down ain't nothing but a thing. You know, that's something somebody older would say. Not nobody in their teens, but, you know. Then you have several people speak on the fact that Age Ain't Nothing But a Number is a perfect song for RKelly to convince Aaliyah and other women her age, you know, letting them know it's okay to have sex and it's okay to do this, you know, age ain't nothing but a number. Shit, it is, it is more than a motherfucking number. You are, you know, you can take that in a couple of different ways, you know, I am smarter, I know, than certain people that are older than me. I know that. I talk to them fucking every day, you know? But at the same time, just because you're 10, 12, age is a number when you are a child, though. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, so he was planting seeds with the songs and shit, you know? So former tour manager Demetrius Smith, he began suspecting that maybe RKelly and Aaliyah are messing around. He says RKelly denied messing with Aaliyah. Big Lash, y'all remember her? I think she used to be on Rap City. She interviewed RKelly and Aaliyah kept saying that they were the best of friends, and they was dressed alike on the show. I found it strange that whenever they would ask Aaliyah, are you guys dating? They would never say like yes or no, her or RKelly. And this was like several interviews. It was just always, we're friends. Or I remember I watched one interview and she was like, no, we're not married. That's old. Why are you bringing that up? Just always deflecting, never really coming out. Because if you ask me if I'm married, I'm going to just be like, no. Like, I'm not going to bring up extra stuff. I'm going to be like, no, So, yeah, they was fucking around. And looking back at that always rubbed me the wrong way, that she was 15 and he was 27. That always rubbed me the wrong way. But just like everybody else, you push that off to the side, because after that came out, it was just under the radar. It was just, they got married. Now it's a no. Aaliyah done moved on with her career. We done all moved on from it, not knowing that it's about to be a fucking trend, Then, honey, Javante Cunningham, she throws a bomb out there, honey. She says, and Javante Cunningham, honey, she was RKelly's backup singer. Y'all know, one of the first ones that was working on the project with him, born into the 90s. She has said that she caught RKelly and Aaliyah having sex on a tour bus. Y'all know they had curtains and shit. And I guess her and another girl, they was doing a prank and they went around fucking with everybody. Saw Aaliyah and RKelly fucking. Aaliyah's mom denies all of this, saying it's not true. I'm gonna need her mother to sit down, because I'm not with this whole thing of, first off, this man went and married your daughter. She done lied and said that she, 18? Like, all this shit happened. And yes, the family trusted him, and I'm pretty sure they didn't want her messing with him. But you can't say that he didn't have sex with your daughter if you was not there. If she's a teenager, I doubt you're with her every day, all day, as if you would be if she was 2, 3, 4. So, Mom, I'm gonna need you to have a seat. Next, RKelly tells his former tour manager, the Demetrius Smith guy, that Aaliyah might be pregnant. And Demetrius is shocked and surprised. And he had already asked Rob prior to that, are you messing with this girl? Rob has said, no, I'm not messing with her. And then he comes back, well, she might be pregnant and we done got her in trouble and all of this. So RKelly and Aaliyah, they end up getting married. Aaliyah is nervous throughout the whole thing. They both say, I do. This stupid motherfucker, Demetrius Smith, lied for them, like forged this whole fake ass marriage. Aaliyah didn't lie and said, like I said, she was 18. Like, you knew this shit was wrong, my nigga. And this is what I'm saying. Like, this type of shit can happen, you all, when we enable people. We know shit ain't right, but we keep our mouth shut because we getting a big fat paycheck out the deal. It's just fucked up. Then he kept saying, well, I wish I would have went back and talked to Aaliyah. She looked at me like she wanted me to talk to her. Why you didn't call her mom? Why you didn't call her dad or Barry Hankerson or anybody, And I think he said on the docuseries, I wanted to, but Rob said not to do it. And I was just like, honey, just too much enabling going on, honey. So after that, I believe that Aaliyah's parents had that marriage annulled. I believe they had that shit annulled. And whenever Aaliyah was asked about it, she denied all allegations, child, even though it's a public record. I mean, we could still look it up on YouTube that there was a marriage license. But anyways, so that whole situation blew over and Aaliyah went on with her career, and so did R. Kelly. We get introduced to a young lady named Lisette Martinez, and she says she met R. Kelly at the age of 17. She was an aspiring singer. And she met him at a mall where he was scouting out his fucking victims. And R. Kelly did not care. He would scout these girls out at school, at concerts, like wherever he could, wherever he knew that they would be. She admitted to being starstruck when she met him, and she ended up, getting his number, and letting him know she had this dream of being a singer. Anyways, they end up meeting up. R. Kelly sings with her and, letting her know he go help make her dreams come true. He's seducing her, kissing her. Then they began having a sexual relationship. They would just meet up and have sex. He would disappear for days on her. Then R. Kelly began abusing the girl physically, trying to control her. It just got to be too much. This girl at this point then graduated from high school. She ended up pregnant. She ended up getting a miscarriage. I guess, maybe a week or two, it didn't really, they didn't say that she carried for quite some time. I'm assuming she got pregnant and then soon after miscarried. And I hate to say it, but that was your blessing in disguise to get away from this crazy ass man that is lying to you and betraying you and just using you for your body. The young lady was very pretty when she was young. And, it's just sad to see that he took advantage of her in that way. Because like it or not, she was the child in the situation. He is the adult. So we got to always look to the adult in this situation. Lisette also mentioned that she found out about RKelly. Y'all know RKelly is formerly of Hollywood Exes. She was on that show with Will Smith's wife, Eddie Murphy's ex-wife, Nicole Murphy, Cherie Zampino. Y'all remember? I used to watch that show and actually like Andrea. A lot of people I've watched their reviews, they're not feeling Drea. They feel like she's a liar. They feel like when it comes to her story of R. Kelly, and her shit sounds just like the rest of these women. She auditioned for him as a dancer. She was the cream of the crop, so she got the job. She connected with R. Kelly in a vulnerable way because she was teaching him how to read. He would sing to her. He would woo her. They were best friends. They ended up getting married, having a couple of kids. He basically would neglect her, like she couldn't be in contact with her family. As a dancer, she couldn't talk to the background singers. R. Kelly had a way of separating everybody from talking to each other. She was just living in hell after a while. She was like, there's Robert, and then there's R. Kelly, and then those people are, very different. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what R. Kelly did. He used his vulnerable parts of his life, like not being able to read, to really snag Andrea and, kind of make her feel sorry for him. But the problem that people are having with Andrea is, I have seen interviews with Andrea pretty much saying, you hear my child's father playing in the background, and the more y'all play him, shit, I still get paid. It don't matter to me. Like with her talking like that, that does make her look bad. That does make you side eye her. But nevertheless, she was still a victim of his abuse. And I am a person, I can forgive you even though you came later, because all of us are unconscious in a lot of areas in our life. And sometimes it takes a while for us to admit the truth, to admit that we were disrespected, physically, mentally, emotionally. It takes a while. When you are being abused, it's not something you really want to admit. This is R. Kelly. I want to admit that he's my child's father. He's a great singer. That makes me look good in your eyes. I think she was kind of playing off of that. And then once he really dogged her, because Andrea even supported him through these little trials he had with, being charged with sleeping with these teenage girls. He would always tell her, oh, it's not true. Don't listen to what they say. People want my money. They want to put rumors out on me. And she was all, but it's my man. And my man say it ain't true, honey. So, she was on that train until she realized I didn't have. Now, my part I had a problem with Andrea was how you get up to 3 kids with this motherfucker and you saw him tripping. But like I said, some people, it hits them later and they are already committed to the relationship, committed to living this life. She was already trapped. I was done with RKelly when he started doing that trapped in the closet shit. All that weird ass shit. A man coming out, man messing with another man. And then you got, that whole concept to that fucking song was so fucking crazy. I said RKelly done lost his mind. But everybody was like, girl, no, it's good. It's this, it's that. I'm more of a fan. I should say, a fan of Freak Tonight. That was one of my favorite songs. I like Body's Calling Me. I like some of his songs. They talked about how RKelly's music really influenced pop culture. You can play it at a wedding. They talked about the I Believe I Could Fly would be at, graduation, Stepping in the Name of Love. People would play that when they was getting married or at a reception. His songs, definitely, they went to the bedroom and they covered different areas of your life. So it's kind of like, even though all these allegations was flying around, it's like, this man is so talented. Hell, we all want to turn a blind eye. But can we turn a blind eye now? Is my question. We get off into Robert RKelly working with the single Sparkle. Y'all remember that song? You better be careful what you say to me. I know I was a part of the group Set, which is a group I was in my hometown where I was a dancer and an actress. And we would sing that. That was actually in one of our skits we would do. But Sparkle spoke on how she worked with RKelly. He was so talented. He was helping her work on her song. I, however, thought it was very interesting was that Better Be Careful What You Say to Me song was her song. And like the narcissist he is, he took over the motherfucking song. He added vocals for his part of the song when really it was supposed to be all about her. One time, RKelly and her was at his house watching some type of basketball game, and she notices Andrea comes out asking, can she get food? And Sparkle is like, why is your wife asking if she could get food? She's your wife. But my thing with Sparkle is that right there, bitch, was a sign of how fucked up this man is. And I know some people go say, well, she was just working, doing business. But my thing is, when people show you who they are, believe them. If this man has his wife coming out of a room asking for food, don't you feel a certain kind of way being in that woman's house, sitting up here eating, watching a game with this man? Did y'all get a hold to this old ignorant ass brother of his in prison talking about, well, some people like older women. I like older women. My brother just like younger women. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Is something wrong with it, motherfucker. That's why you behind bars now with your crazy ass. Whew, that brother of his, I wanted to smack the shit out of him. Next, we have a young lady named Lisa Van Allen who RKelly met at the age of 17. So she ended up meeting Rob at the Home Alone Keith Murray video set. I thought it was interesting when she said, I was very shocked that somebody told me he wanted to talk to me because I was one of the youngest people there. And I'm like, girl, you just don't know. And she probably really didn't have a clue at that time because this shit was not out there like that. Nobody was speaking on none of the shit that he was doing. He just kept doing it, going girl to girl. But That's what he likes. A young woman that he can control, and it was interesting. She wasn't even there for herself. Her friend was the one that wanted, I guess, to be the singer. So during this time, this young lady is fooling around with R. Kelly. They're having oral sex, and, he has her just taking off her clothes. They just getting it on the tour bus. They began having sex in all types of crazy places. She said she had reservations of doing it, but it's R. Kelly. I don't want to turn him down. I don't want to disappoint him, which is what a lot of the other girls are going to say as well. And it's just sad that they were stripped of their innocence. He definitely took advantage of his star power to fuck with these girls, fuck with them mentally, try to abuse and control them. It's just fucked up. So next we have Sparkle, and she gets to telling us how she introduced her niece to R. Kelly at the age of 12. And her niece was aspiring to, I guess, rap or, to be on Bow Wow status. She made it look like the niece was on Bow Wow status. I'm like, is this niece famous? Did she want to be famous? What the fuck is going on? I guess she wanted to be famous. She wasn't really out. Sparkle felt like putting her with R. Kelly could help her. She could take advantage of the stuff that R. Kelly did for Sparkle, arranging her songs, making sure her vocals was on point, that type of thing. Sparkle begins to notice that the niece is acting a bit weird because the niece is at the studio with R. Kelly when Sparkle is not around. And, Sparkle would come to the studio. She's like, what is you doing here? And then the niece would be like, oh, Rob wanted me to come for a little bit. And the one time Rob was having a Christmas party and, the niece got dropped off to be at the party. I was like, damn, they just, nobody did any motherfucking investigating. And that you just dropping her off. You're just trusting that he's a celebrity, he's a star, So, and like I said before, I feel for Sparkle for what happened to her niece, but at the same time, you saw something in his behavior with his wife, and you still introduced your niece. Because Rob at that time had began telling her who to talk to and not to talk to. You can't talk to this. Oh, and then Sparkle said, well, no, I'm grown. He can't be telling me what to do. And then you saw how he was doing his wife. So, like I always say, you guys, there are signs and warnings. And a lot of us, we don't pay attention to the signs and warnings. So next we hear from the Lisa girl, and she says at this time R. Kelly, is having sex with her. They're having threesomes with other young girls. One young lady in particular was Sparkle's niece. The girl Lisa stated she didn't even know the girl was 14 at the time. He had her thinking that, she's 16, it's cool, this, that, and the third. And she was like, I ended up finding out her age because she said, well, I can't wait till I turn 16. I'm going to get a car. And the girl, Lisa, said, well, I thought you was 16. And the girl said, no, I'm 15. And then it rang in her head. We had been fucking with this girl since she was, 14? I guess she had probably just turned 15. But it's just crazy. Sparkle is tripping out. I just can't believe I introduced him to her. And like I said, my heart goes out to all of them. It does. But, especially I would say with Sparkle, it was some signs, maybe you didn't think all of this would happen. But, when you saw that man disrespect his wife, that right there was a sign. All of this shit, don't get me wrong, you all, this is R. Kelly's fault. I'm not at all trying to, say that, oh, well, it's this person's fault and no, everybody besides these girls, because they are the innocent ones, there are people on this docuseries that knew the shit that he was doing and just helped him do it. And like I said, with the Sparkle situation, she had signs and warnings of his character and his behavior and ignored it. So when we ignore those things, we make things worse, and in this case, it was worse for her niece. Her niece is just young. She's out there, being fucked by this singer, producer, like this star, so it was just mind-blowing, honey. But right there, I'm going to leave that right there. I want you all to join me for part 2. Okay, so this tape is getting ready to run out. So join me on the next tape, honey. We will continue the conversation of surviving RKelly. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It is your girl, Brand New, and I am out.